Let's bring in Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg, Fox News contributor and former National Security Advisor to Vice President Mike Pence. To Ukraine in just a second, General, but first of all, this new tactic that apparently is being employed by the IDF to flood Gaza tunnels with seawater. Good idea? Bad idea?
It's a great idea. It's pretty innovative as well. Here's why it's a great idea, because it doesn't sacrifice soldiers. What I mean by soldiers, putting soldiers into those tunnels where the advantage accrues to Hamas. This way, by doing that, it forces, it's sort of like when we used to destroy gopher holes, do the same thing. Force them out, find out where the access points are. Makes it a lot of sense. I think the Israelis are doing a lot of innovative things. I think they're on the attack, and they're doing very well.
Does it put hostages potentially in danger, though? Could Hamas leave them behind to drown?
Yeah, it does, John, but I've said this repeatedly. You cannot, and it's harsh to say, and I know it, but you can't think of hostages as the primary. You have to think of defeating Hamas. And I think that's what makes it really hard, but you have to do that.
All right. To Ukraine now. Chuck Schumer, the Senate Majority Leader, met with Zelensky this morning, who is now at the White House for meetings with the president. Schumer obviously wants this funding to go through. Republicans are saying not without money to address the security problem at the southern border.
Right.
So here's what Schumer said after meeting with Zelensky.
He needs the aid quickly. If we don't give the aid quickly, several things will happen. First, the military needs, but second, Europe and many other allies will say, what is going on here? They're not giving them the aid.
In this conflict, we're headed rapidly toward the end of the second year,
right.
And for the past year, there hasn't been a lot of progress either way. And now there are some members of Congress who are saying, well, why do we keep funding this? Maybe we should put the money towards something else. What do you say? Yeah,
it's enormously frustrating for me. We've crested 650 days. And we talked about this on this program well over a year ago about heading towards a stalemate. The Ukrainians had the advantage if we just supported them appropriately early on. Now we're reaching a point where even Zelensky, who's their senior general, is talking about a stalemate. And I think they now have to think about two things. They have to now think about not only fighting, but how they terminate it going forward. My frustration is this. It's almost like we talk about giving them money, but there's a demographic piece involved here as well. They've lost over 150,000 soldiers, the Ukrainians. It's an enormous price they've had to pay. We only lost 48,000 in 10 years in Vietnam. And I read and think going back to World War I with the Brits, and they talked about the lost generation. Well, you're talking about a lost generation in Ukraine. And if you get into an attrition fight with the Russians, they out in the age group of 18 to 40, which is kind of your military age group, they outgunned the Ukrainians 5-1, and they've now got the advantage. So my frustration is, look, you better start thinking about an end state and how do you get there. And that doesn't mean you stop fighting, but you have to terminate and maybe think about the long-term efforts. And the problem right now you're seeing, even with the Ukrainians, are not thinking like that.
Well, we heard Jackie Heinrich point to it. We heard Speaker Johnson talk about it as well, that there's this sense that we're funding a stalemate because the Biden administration has not given Ukraine in the last almost 2 years what it needs for a definitive win. I want to go to call for number 3 here. The Wall Street Journal editorial board took note of this, saying, quote, Biden's halting record on Ukraine, his slow delivery of key weapons has hurt Kiev's military progress. So what is the end game by the Biden administration's calculation? Is it to draw this to a negotiated settlement? Is it to allow Ukraine to win? Is it to allow Russia to have a slow victory, but one that's going to cost it dearly in terms of its overall military strength? What's the end game? Yeah,
well, incrementalism does not win wars, and that's what we've done. We did this administration and some of the alliance nations as well. And I think they're going to have to go into a discussion on where the end state is, meaning negotiations. They're going to have to get there because the Russians now have become empowered. They've seen now, and this now is starting to accrue to the Russians. The Ukrainians could not punch through in the south in Kherson. They're having real problems up near Advika, where human wave attacks are taking place. And so they need to step back and take kind of a knee and say, what I mean by take a knee is take a pause, figure out where you're going to go. It's hard to talk about. It's hard to say, but I'm looking at the demographics involved with this. It's always easy for us to say, give them more weapons, give them more supplies. But if we're not going to give it to them to win a war, then all we're doing is killing more and more Ukrainians. I think over the long term, that's wrong.
All right. General, always good to get your thoughts on things. Appreciate it.